What's up, guys? 30-day check-in challenge. Lollybag Mike checking in. It is day 17, so let's just start it off. Let's just go for the weigh-in. 3, 2, 1. Cool. Let's go with the steps. 3, 2, 1. That was a weird click. Alright, so weight 100.6. Now, I had pants and socks on today when I did my weigh-in. I was not in me undies, so it's probably closer to about 100. And I had my phone in my hand. But, whatever. Not much of it. Let's say 100. To be expected, because like I said, in the past few days, I did binge a bit more food. So I've become a little bit more of a chunky boy. Not fat, but, you know, I definitely don't want to be 100 kilos. So, need to work on that. And steps, though, steps are good. Steps are about 25,000. Steps are good regardless. Look, let's be honest, this whole check-in challenge, even if my steps are 200, I'm still going to post it. I'm not going to shy away and say that every fucking day is going to be perfect, because it's definitely not. I'm old enough now to know that you're just not going to have consistently perfect days all the time. At least not at this current point I'm at. I'm more just happy that I've been keeping up with the videos for the most part. Even if I have missed a day here or there, I've made up for it, and now we're back on track on day 17. Even though, to be completely honest with you guys, it has not been a great... It hasn't been an ideal couple of days. Let's just say closer to, about past 5 days have been kind of shitty. And that is all of my own making. I don't really have a set thing that I necessarily want to talk about today. I was kind of flirting with the idea of making the title of the video like that you are the master of your own reality. I might still do that, but I think what I'm kind of realizing, or what I've realized in these past kind of 5 days where I've taken a bit of a turn, I've gone back to kind of looking at campsites, masturbating to porn, smoking cigs, smoking cigarettes, smoking a shit ton of weed. Not being irresponsible in the sense of I'm still showing up to my job, although I did take 2 days off, but that was planned, and I kind of let my manager know that, and they're fine with it because I am a good worker, and I don't take a crazy amount of days off or anything like that. And to be honest with you, I thought taking the time off work would kind of help reset my mind. I'm in a kind of a transitionary period just in my life in general at the moment, where I've just recently turned 30. I wouldn't say it's a midlife crisis, but I kind of look at certain aspects of my life and I go, fuck man, should I be further ahead, or am I right where I need to be? I don't 100% know the answer. I think I'd be way too I think I'd be way too full of myself to just say instantly that I know the answers, because I really don't. And something I've gotten more comfortable with as I've gotten a little older is just dealing with the fact that there's a lot of stuff I don't know. There's a lot of times now, at least lately in the past year or two, where I have just been trying to listen more to people rather than talk over people. Even if I'm in conversations with people and I don't really agree with their viewpoint, rather than berate them I was never really that way to begin with, but rather than get into an argument with people in a roundabout way, or totally tune them out because I don't like what they're saying, I actually just have been trying to listen to what people are saying, understand it from their viewpoint, and even if I don't agree or think that I can use it in any way in my life, I'm still giving each person the respect of just listening to them, because I do believe that you can really learn a lot about, well, people in general, but also about yourself just from listening to other people talk about, I mean, we all have the conversations with people that might be close to us, or people we work with, where you might be explaining something that's happening in your life, and then they'll instantly be like, look, man, this is what you should do. This is what you got to do. Do this, do that. This is what I did. This is what made me better. And, maybe when I was a bit younger, maybe when I was like 25, maybe 24, 23, definitely from my like early 20s up until 25, I would kind of just be like, I would listen to them, but at the same time I'd automatically be tuning them out and going, I don't need to listen to this, like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about, what the fuck, whatever, dude. And even if there were people giving me good advice, I would kind of try to dilute what they're telling me into a story that I'd tell myself. So what they're telling me, information they're telling me, I'd dilute that into a story where I would just be listening to, like, I would be convincing myself that what they were saying was just to feed their own ego rather than to actually try to help me, because why would anyone actually want to try to help me? Like, I had this very nihilistic view of, when people were saying things to me, it would almost be like I'm looking at it as though, oh, well, you're just trying to feed your own ego. You don't actually care about anything that's going on with me. But as I got a little bit older and started actually listening to some of the things people were saying, I realized, especially if I was friendly with this person, or if we had common interests, or I felt like a certain kinship with them, I would realize that a lot of what they're telling me is kind of what I would tell myself anyway. But when you listen to people that maybe have gotten past a point you're at, or they're in a better place, you have the added benefit of that they've actually gotten out of the place. Because it's one thing to listen to your own advice, but you're still in the same place you're in. You haven't gotten any further. Whereas there could be someone giving you the advice and they've actually gotten past that point, and they're kind of telling you what got them to where they are. And even though their situation might not be 100% similar, there's definitely more than a few kernels of truth that you can kind of grab and take and apply it to your own life if you're willing. And I think that at this point, the spirit, this sounds wrong to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. Yeah, I just, lately, with certain things that have been happening with my job, and, I had some money and savings that I kind of just stupidly spent on food and weed and other things that are useful, like my printer for doing my art and stuff like that. But I've noticed that since I moved out of home, and it's been over a year now, and I did have another stint when I was younger where I did move out of home for like another year, and then broke up with my ex, and then had to move back. That's a story for another time if I ever get to it. But at this current stage that I'm at, it's almost like I'm angry at the world for the fact that I had to move out of my parents' house, which is dumb, which is gay and dumb. But I think if I dilute it down to, if I kind of look at what the emotional side of me, which I know is not a lot of dudes will say, well, emotional men are weak, and I do agree with that, but we do all have emotionality, if that's a word, but we do all have an emotional side of us that is inside our heads, that while most of the time it may not be good to listen to it, there are some things that it does reveal about yourself that are inherently true. And I know one of those things for me is that I do tend to have why couldn't I have been in this situation that this person is? Like I've got friends that just seem to fall into the right jobs, and are making good money, and even so are still have like less rent to pay, or they're in positions where they can go back and move in with their parents, and their parents don't even charge them rent. You know, they can make all this money and save it up, and they're in an easy position. And I felt like I kind of gave that up, you know, when I moved in with my girlfriend in Wollongong. And don't get me wrong, I don't regret that decision. I think it was the right decision to make for my personal growth. But in terms of just living life on a bit of an easier mode, it is harder. It is inherently harder doing it this way. I had, you know, and I hate to go over this, so I won't dwindle in it for ages, but I'll just, you know, like I had over 10,000 in savings. Just a little over a year ago, I had a job that I didn't exactly like, to be honest, but it was very close to my home, and it paid well enough that I was able to save a significant amount, and I was only paying a very small amount in rent due to the fact that I was living with parents. I was seeing my girlfriend every week, usually every weekend, sometimes more often, but there was kind of something to look forward to on that weekend, and I had all this money that I could actually go do things every weekend with her. You know, and that kind of whole situation changed to the point where now my rent is nearly triple what I was paying at home. My job pays less than the job that I had when I was living at home. And I don't have the money to go out every weekend with my missus, with my girlfriend. And that's on me. Realistically, all the choices I've made are of my own doing. So this is why I thought of titling the video, "You Are the Master of Your Own Reality," because we all make choices and they all lead us to different positions that we find ourselves at in life. And sometimes it's really easy to look at what you don't have and or what you did have and be upset that you don't have it now. But I don't think ultimately that is the right mindset to progress. I mean, it's definitely not. And I think for the past 5 days, I've definitely been stuck in that mindset. You know, that woe is me, or I feel sorry for myself mindset. And we all have those moments. You know, I'm not saying that I'm saying that if anybody else is having a similar moment that you're less than, or you're shit. But you do need to get out of it. You need to snap yourself out of it, because at the end of the day, if your actions are what's led you to this point in life, well, the only thing that can get you out of it is more action in more of that positive direction. And some of it won't be positive. I mean, that's the whole thing of what they talk about with retard maxing. It's like, you know, in the High Thermos Discord, and it's one of the reasons I think resonated with what Eli was saying in his videos. I'll say Eli now, like I know him on a first name basis. I don't, but you know, Elisha. Definitely check out his videos on YouTube, Elisha Long. He has some really interesting viewpoints, and he just seems like a cool dude. A lot of the dudes in the Thumos Discord do. But regardless, I'll go on to another topic. I'll go back to what I was saying, which is pretty much like that whole idea of retard maxing is pretty much that you are taking actions, and there's no guarantee that those actions that you're taking, you know, just retardedly making actions like quit your job, go move somewhere. There's no guarantee that will lead you instantly to a better life. Like, I can tell you for a fact, I did the retarded thing of, or some would say it's retarded, of quitting my job that was really close to home, leaving my home where I had a good amount in savings, where I was probably on track to, if I kept that job and kept saving, I could have paid off all my debt on my credit card and just had my car loan left. And I could have even done the smart thing of actually finding a job while I had my other job. I could have, you know, done the correct, right way of things, but I chose the retarded way of just saying, fuck it, I've got some savings, I'm going to live life on my own terms a little bit, I'm going to take a month off, I'll obviously look for a job, but I'll have a month to myself. I'll use a bit of my savings, and I'll find something new. And I did find something new. I'm in a new career now, a new position, and I'm in a totally new situation as well. Is it a better situation? I don't know. I'm glad to be with my girlfriend. I'm glad of the memories that we've had and that we will continue to have, and the fact that I now am kind of struggling a bit, but the struggle is real, and it kind of, it kicks your ass at times, but it also burns a kind of fire in you that you need to go find something else. Because this all leads me to saying that I now feel like I'm in another transitionary period where things are changing at my job. A lot of people are leaving. I'm not getting paid what I want to get paid. I've asked for more hours. I'm not getting them. I don't know whether I have to ask. I keep asking. I might have to keep asking. But I think if that doesn't end up happening, I'm probably going to have to find either another job or go and find a second job. And I have already been applying. But, you know, to take that next transitionary period, it's scary. And if any of you guys are in a similar position, it is scary. It's it kind of, your nuts feel like they're in your throat, like they fucking go up through your body. They go in your throat. You got throat nuts, you know? But I think ultimately having that fire, that thumos, I guess you would say. I'm saying that a lot lately in some of my videos, but I really connect with that idea. I think it's a good thing ultimately, and I feel like it's better to have that kind of life where you have some fuck ups, but ultimately you're living your life a bit more on your own terms, and you're trying new things. And I never would have experienced Wollongong, this new place. I never would have seen the places I've seen and visited the places I've visited and met the people that I've met at my work and everything like that if I wouldn't have taken that chance. I would still be in the house with my parents and my brothers and that. Maybe I wouldn't even have my girlfriend. Not saying that's a bad thing. Maybe I would have met someone, you know, like, that's the kind of gamble we take when we do these different actions. But at the end of the day, I never would have had the experiences that I've had here if I wouldn't have taken that leap. And I kind of have to remind myself of that now that I'm in this next transitionary period, because I feel like I've gotten fairly comfortable at my workplace. And, you know, I know a lot of people say that when you're not in your comfort zone, that's when you're really growing. And I think I've just been scared to get out of my comfort zone again, and I can feel myself kind of retreating into my shell, which is why I end up doing those kind of actions where I'm kind of not self-sabotaging in a way, but, you know, like the cigs and everything. Like, honestly, I don't care too much about the cigarettes. I have moments in my life where I go back on them for like a month or so while I'm figuring shit out, and it's fine. I can get back off them. I've done it many times before, where I've gone like years without having one, and then I'll just have a month where I do it, and then I go back to years without having any. So I'm not so worried about that. For me, it's just more the fact of my mental state, where it's like I've felt myself shrunk a little bit. So yeah. Just wanted to share that with you guys. I don't know if I really had an overarching point with this video, but like, it's late here again. You know, I should probably be in bed getting sleep because I got to wake up in about 5-6 hours. But, well, it's Friday tomorrow, so it's the last day of the week, and then get a little break. But yeah, I think ultimately that making those decisions, making the hard decisions, are the right decisions to make. Especially if you're a dude, even if you're a chick, whatever. But especially when you're a man and you feel like there's the weight of the world upon your nutsack pressing down. Especially when you're, you know, living out of home, and like my parents would support me if I needed it. But, you know, I don't want that. And I don't think it's fair for them to have to do that, especially when I'm fucking 30 years old. Even if I was 25, even whatever, I still wouldn't want them to. So yeah, I think I've just been going through that transitionary period, and what I pretty much wanted to say in this video was that if any of you are going through a similar transitionary period in life, whether it's you've just broken up and you kind of feel lost, and I've been there before, man. I've been there. I've been through some shit times. Family members dying at the same time while breaking up, at the same time while getting sacked from a job and having to find a new job and bouncing between jobs, and having money and then losing money. Yeah, I've been there before. But just know that those transitionary periods and what comes out of them, when you really throw yourself into the fire, or when you take a risk, or when you just do anything that kind of makes you feel a bit uncomfortable, you are growing. Even if it doesn't feel like it at that time, even if you feel like, man, this just feels like life's shitting on my head. And it may feel like that at the moment, but when you look back, like when I look back at the really tough times I had in 2021, 2022, with my brother dying and losing my relationship and losing my job and having to go through and find all these new jobs and bouncing back and forth between contract jobs, and I could make a whole video on that, and I probably will at some point. But I had the most growth in that period that I have had in my life, probably maybe ever. Yeah, probably ever. So when I look back on that, it's like, yeah, wow, like, I don't want to say it was worth it, because I would rather have my brother here with me now. Like, I'd rather have my brother in my life, but that was the way things turned out, and I grew a lot from it and learned a lot that I wouldn't have learned if I just had a cushy life where everything was right and I wasn't taking any risks, or I wasn't trying to figure my way through the shit life was throwing at me. So it all goes to say that if life's throwing you some shit, man, get a spoon and eat it up and say, fucking yum, give me more, throw more shit at me, yeah, like, you'll get there and you'll deal with it and you will grow from it and you'll be a better person from it. So if you're feeling like overwhelmed or stressed with any events that are going on at the moment, just know that you can get through it, man. I'm here. Anyone wants to message me or just shoot the shit or whatever, man, I'm here. I love helping people out, or just talking and just seeing where everyone else is at, and that can kind of help you out in its own way. So yeah, I should probably end this video soon, because I've got to work pretty early tomorrow. But yeah, I just wanted to record this video and give that little message. It's been a bit of a longer video than I intended, but hey, that's all good. If you've watched through to the end or listened through to the end, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Oh, yes. I don't know, maybe that was a Chinese dude, I don't know. Oh, thank you very much. Oh. But yes, thank you very much. And I hope you have a great night or day wherever you are in the world, in the galaxy, in the universe, in the cosmos, in the Andromeda galaxy, Milky Way galaxy. I could go on, but I won't. I'll end the video now, and I hope you have a great day/night wherever you are, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.